So just when you think you're starting to figure out this house flipping stuff, you get smacked right in the mouth by Mike Tyson. The Pasadena flip that we've been doing actually just got flagged by the city. So that's the second time that's happened to me. So I'm going to break that down. And then I forgot that I didn't update you guys on the other flip that I wanted in Kingwood area where close to where I live. And I wanted to just do a full breakdown of like a catch-up video and fill you guys in. I got a lot of stuff to go through with you guys. So I'm going to bring up all the messages, all of the emails, and really go through everything to fill you guys in, because most of you have been following me now from day one. I've documented my house flipping journey. It's been going, for now about 14, 15 months. We've got, 6 flips under our belt and still, getting my butt kicked, but I'm enjoying it a lot. Learning so much about this, and actually I enjoy the most everybody's comments, on these videos. I get a lot of emails, DMs of people just starting their journey and how much this channel helped them. So I realized, crap, I haven't done just a video explaining what's been going on kind of behind the scenes lately. And so I wanted to just update you guys, do a major update on where we're at with the current flip and the other flip that I really wanted badly that we put an offer in on. So I left you with a cliffhanger, and that starts me off with basically this right here. Listed at $285. So that house that I put an offer on to flip, I did a video, it was about 2 or 3 videos ago, where I found this house at an estate sale. They had an estate sale there. My wife and she loves estate selling, so we went in and I found out it was the actual owners running the estate sale. And so I just talked to them, and sure enough, they wanted to sell the house. So what happened was and I don't want to go through this is more of an update video, but we put an offer in at like 168, and I was pretty comfortable going in at about 185-ish. And we had about an $80,000 to $85,000 budget to get this thing up to where we wanted to in order to sell fast. And just looking around that market right now, you can see, there's really nothing pending. The oranges are what's pending, and just in this area alone, from prices 370 down to 250, nothing's really pending. But we did look at the comps, and anything that was done very nice, like a really good remodel, sold pretty quick. But this is one that we talked a lot about. This has been on the market now for 225 days. It's the exact same 4-bed, 2-bath, same size square foot house, same size lot. Little different, appeal here, but really not in like terrible shape. And yet, this thing's going to be on the market for a year and actually has pretty decent, paint, floor, baseboards. So if this thing isn't selling at 249, it's crazy to think that they're going to get 85 for this. So I actually have all the messages that went back and forth with this, and again, I need to update you. So we'll start with this, and then we're going to jump over to what happened, why our flip in Pasadena got stopped and flagged by the city again. It's been a pain in the butt. So first of all, I'll bring up the messages because you guys already saw the video where I put in my offer and everything. And this is where, let's see, right here. We were talking about hunting and stuff, but I said, hey, Mike, did you ever get a hold of them? So I gave him the contact info. This is probably a good point for me to talk. Jackson, why did you have Money Mike call him? Why, you already established the conversation with him. Why are you having somebody else close this? Now you're going to have to pay him. The one thing I've learned is that, like, it's not my strength to really negotiate. I'm too nice of a guy. And I just don't want to deal with that. And the deals that Money Mike has been able to bring to us, and actually we've wholesaled a couple deals where my cold callers, again, I'll talk a little bit about that too. It's really cool. They're finding me deals, and I just send them to Money Mike, and he's getting them to great prices. We're getting buyers in whatever market, and wholesaling on the side, which is nice. And he's just got this ability to talk to people, get them on their side, and negotiate. Even once we settle on a price, if we got to go lower, later on, ow, that was my elbow. He's really good at that. And we've got a good relationship now too, to where it's not like I'm going through these massive major wholesalers that charge 10, 15 grand, 20 grand, 30 grand. So I knew that if I just got him this lead, he would be able to, get me the best price that I could possibly get. And if it cost me a couple $1,000s to have him do that, and I don't have to, that's my weakness is negotiating. Again, you might be very strong at it. I'm not, so I'm just very honest with that. So that's why I did it. So I said, hey, Mike, did you get a hold of them? Oh, I'm covering that. Let me move that right now. Hey, Mike, did you get a hold of them? He said, yep. He called me and went over the offer. He was going to talk with his mother-in-law and get back to me. Okay, did he say anything? How do you think it went? Or did he give any kind of price they were looking for? And that was Saturday, November 1st, and then Money Mike had some stuff. So then Monday I hit him up. Money Mike, any word back? He said he talked with his mother-in-law and was supposed to talk with the rest of the family yesterday and get back to me today. And then Hard Money Joe, this is a three-way text we got, fingers crossed. And I said, what did he think of the offer and budget? And he said it looked good to him. So I was kind of like, all right, that's kind of cool. This was Monday morning. And then Monday afternoon, let's see, it was 9 a.m., so about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, Money Mike just screenshots this and sends it in. This is from that seller, right? To Mike. Good afternoon, Mike. Yes, I did. They want to move forward with listing the house as is. Thanks for checking. Just so you know, we did get a couple other cash offers, slightly over $200,000. We'll see what the market offers. So I saw that and I'm like, what the and then Hard Money Joe said, feck. We should have added seller concession and tagged a realtor fee on there to make it look better. They need to understand listing is going to cost them 6%. Closing costs, and seller typically pays for all that. And then I said they didn't get over 200 or they would have taken it. That was just my inkling. Like, there's no way you wouldn't take over 200K if you knew something about that, market and how bad that house, the shape it was in. And Hard Money Joe said, yeah, for sure. So this is when I came back and I'm like, all right, ask him what price. And I actually used, I think I used Chat GPT, like, hey, here's the exact situation. They think they can sell it for more. What can we ask them, to get this rolling? And then it kind of gave me a little insight. So I said, ask them what price they're going to list at. And if there's a price, they wouldn't list it at all. See if we can get some kind of number from them. Once they have to paint, replace floors, they won't want to do that. Tell them we aren't wholesalers. We will actually buy it, and the wholesalers are blowing smoke up their ass. We can supply an actual approval. And Joe said, offer them a lease back too if they need it. We are starting another project, which is Pasadena, this week. So not the end of the world if we have to wait 2 to 4 weeks to get them to move out. I've seen that be super helpful in a deal. And I was like, come on, Money Mike, work it. And I said, ask what their price is to make it work so we can go from there. Money Mike said, I asked him, and he said, the realtor will determine that. And Hard Money Joe did that gif right there, pretty funny. And I'm like, well, then they got to feel some pain. And then Mike got this text from the seller. It will really depend on how much more you can bring. We really believe we can get close to $300,000. I mean, I feel bad for these people a lot of times, and I'm not making fun of them, but like, where's the real estate agent that steps in and is like, guys, look, let's just have an honest conversation about this. Here's the actual market. Here's a CMA. Like, you have got to get this to tip top shape to hit that 330, 340 mark. And if you don't, this other house has been on the market for 225 days and it has actual flooring. Because if you look at the listing pictures, I'm going to show you here in a second. I mean, they didn't do anything, and it's bad, right? So it's just crazy that people think that, and they're going to feel a lot of pain. And now they're just going to get a bunch of calls, from wholesalers and stuff. So, oh boy, LOL, these realtors, whatever. And I'm like, oh man, that agent's doing them dirty. So anyways, it's been 3 or 4 weeks, and I kept checking to see when they listed it. I was super curious at what price they were going to go with. And then it popped up. So here it is, $285. And if you look, they did vertical cell phone pictures. I mean, and they're probably just doing like a 1% listing or something, so that agent's like, this thing ain't ever selling. I'm not putting any money into this. I mean, it's just vertical cell phone pictures. I mean, it's just dark. You can't even tell. So it's an investor special for sure. And you can see because remember I told you guys when I was in there, like, oh yeah, we're just gonna paint it. The broker told us if we paint it, this thing will sell so fast. And I'm like, all right. Well, they didn't paint it. You can see all the dirt on the wall. You can see all the paint here. You can see concrete. They still haven't even done any flooring in it. Just super dirty walls, dirty everything, concrete floors. Again, concrete floors, just crazy painted rooms. Let me see. Yeah, there was one picture still. I mean, obviously didn't do anything to the back. It's a nice house, nice location, but the other thing was, where was it? I think it's right here. Yeah, you can see they still have all the paper ripped off the wall. They did finish ripping some more wallpaper off, but I think it just exposed stuff. So anyways, I had thoughts of like just throwing in an offer, at like 185 and 175, something like that. I don't think I'm gonna, but I am pretty interested to follow this for a while. And I think what we'll do is in like a month's time, reach out, see if they're willing to take a hard money loan, cash offer, full cash offer on this bad boy, but lost out on it. But again, now I was just talking with a guy about this the other day who did house flips, and I'm like, it's crazy that the number one thing you learn in house flipping after kind of doing it for a while, getting your butt kicked, having major wins, making money, losing money, is like you just learn it's so much easier to say no. And he's like, yeah, I've done a lot of flips, and at the beginning you get so excited and you kind of want to win everything, and you're just really wanting to get into that project, and it can make you do very emotional things. Whereas now you just literally look at your numbers, you submit offers, and if it's a no, it's a no, and you move on, you forget about it. So I'm not butthurt. It would have been a really fun project. The house is cute. We could have really killed it, I feel like. But it just isn't meant to be, and they were probably trying to work us up to 200. No chance, right? I'm not going to take that risk, especially in this market right now. So anyways, we start getting ram jamming on Pasadena flip. And we're actually listing the lots. I forgot to mention that too. From when I'm shooting this, it'll be hopefully in a few days, we're going to get the lots listed. So hopefully we can get those going. We had that offer, but the guy kind of backed out. He fizzled away. So he was going to buy both lots for 130, I think, which we were cool with. No realtor fees, no nothing. So what we're going to do, I think I can bring it up. We're going to sell those lots through Giovanni. If you guys remember, if you've been following me, I had a different listing agent for 2 of my flips from hell, and they wouldn't sell. And I tried to pick a top team from Houston to move it, and they were just awful. It was the worst experience ever. So then I found Giovanni, because he was the buyer's agent of my second flip, and he was awesome. And so I hit him up, and he sold both of them in a week. So gonna hook him up. He's been on the channel a lot. You guys know Giovanni. But anyways, we're gonna go. He did a full kind of market analysis, and really like 75K he thinks moves it, no problem. So we're gonna list at about 79K for each of them, and obviously we would take a package deal. So we're gonna get the pictures going and all that stuff. He's gonna do a flat rate on those, about 2,500 each. So cost us about $5,000 to list it. But the one thing he said on lots, so if you're in the Houston area, especially down in that area, he's like, I'll list it MLS, all that, but he goes, where you get a lot of traction, you got to put it in Facebook Marketplace, the Craigslist, all those areas, and do it in Spanish, and he speaks Spanish. And he's like, that's where you can really push stuff. So he's like, I'm just going to get it listed in all those spots and try and get a lot of traction there. So hopefully we can get, some offers on that going pretty soon to really close. You guys, if you watched the last video, how much it can wipe down our loan, and our monthly payment drops big time. And then once we sell that house, the rest is all profit. So that's where we're at with that. Well, the other day, I'm going to bring up this email for you guys to see. Because I had Hard Money Joe send me all that. He was kind of talking with the city a little bit more than I was. And here it is. Really what happened was Joe hit me up, or our contractor hit us up and said, hey guys, the city came and gave us a stop all work order. So slapped us with a stop all work. And the crazy thing is, I had Joe sum it all up right here. The general remodel permit, make sure I'm not blocking that. The general remodel permit was canceled because the payment from the title used to clear the existing labor liens was incorrect. You guys are gonna shit yourself when you see this here in a minute. The city of Pasadena flagged the issue because the check amount was too high, not too low, and they cannot legally accept an overpayment on lien clearance. Because of that, the permit application could not move forward. So we had this general remodel permit and we were getting after it. Well, come to find out, title company sends a check for too much money to remove this lien, and I'm talking like by like $20 or $30. And instead of just like taking what they need and refunding us, they just shut it down. So that brought in like, you know, the city, then they start doing all these inspections and it just kind of like blew everything out. So because of that, the permit application could not move forward. The liens were because the investor who sat on it well over a year and never responded to them and allowed squatters, overgrowth, etc. So the city had to handle it. To resolve this, we had to request that title void and reissue a new check for the exact lien amount as required for by the city. So that was actually a pretty quick process, and you can see Joe's sent me all the talks he's had with the city and then with title. So that whole issue with title really took just a couple days. So that was cleaned up. We've been at a stop work for probably 10 to 14 days right now. The way that our contractor was moving, we were going to get done with this project in 3 to 4 weeks. So it's been 2 weeks, I think 2.5 weeks. We only got a couple days into it and then we were stopped. So really at this point, I mean, if nothing had really slowed us down, we'd be kind of doing some of the final touches on this thing. And it's just the life of house flipping. But once we got basically the report done and we got the money corrected, we had like our engineering report that we did at the beginning. They said that will suffice to meet the requirement for the engineers, because they wanted to see that, even though we submitted it or whatever, they said it was good. But we haven't received the IECC report and a contractor that is registered with the city of Pasadena. So this was one thing that even Joe, he goes, I've done hundreds of flips and I've never had this happen to me. So what is that? Joe says after that issue was corrected, Pasadena informed us that in addition to the structural engineering drawings, which were already completed and submitted and approved, they also required a res check energy compliance report. What in the dog Shito is that? However, the complication was that Pasadena mandates that whoever prepares the res check must be registered vendor contractor with the city of Pasadena. The original res check preparer was not registered. So Joe had found a res check guy to do this. And he's like, yep, no problem, I can come do it. But then the city came back and said, he's not registered here. And that guy didn't want to. So now we had to find somebody. And it took Joe like all this communication, get back and forth. And the guy wouldn't get back to Joe, but he finally got it. But anyways, we had to get the original res check, you know, wasn't approved or whatever. But once we had those items and our GC was fully registered with the city, he went back, finished out the necessary permits. The city is going to be heavily involved in this one because it was a problem house with them for so long. So now we are good to get rolling again, but we can probably expect a few more slight delays with inspections, etc. The city is notoriously tough on investors. So with that being said, we've got it going as of today when I'm shooting this video. So it was a good time to do an update video. We should be able to really start moving forward because we have that res check, we have the structured engineering, we've now got our master permit, everything's going. So once they complete out, you know, electrical, plumbing it, then they'll call the city in, they come do their inspections, they flag you for like 400,000 things, you fix them, and then you move on. But hopefully, you know, our contractor's really good, he's worked with them in the past, so we can kind of move this forward. But the Kingwood flip is a no-go for now. In Pasadena, hopefully now that we're permitted and going, I really see that maybe in the next 2 weeks we have some major changes to that one and we're really looking good. And I also had you guys vote on colors. We're not quite 100% on which color we want to go with. A lot of you chose kind of that just grayish, light grayish blue. We were really leaning towards that, but there is something about that darker blue one that we're all kind of excited about. So we'll continue to check that out. Again, not an edited video here, but just wanted to update you guys on where we're at. And we do have some other, projects that could be possibly in the works as well. So make sure you guys are subscribing, following my journey. I document everything, good and bad, about house flipping. I give you the real insider scoop of what's going on, with house flipping, the real deal stuff. And last but not least, I can't go, without telling you guys to make sure you head over to, to gethardmoney.com. Totally free. We've actually had over, I think, 270 people register on here. Again, sign up, totally free. We don't cold call you, nothing. It's a free resource. You guys are always asking how to, get into flipping and doing all that. I'm actually going to do a video on, if I were starting a new one. It's going to be awesome. Going to put a lot of work into it. But we got all these free calculators here. I want you guys to use that. And if you're really serious about starting house flipping, 2026 going forward, really one of the first steps is getting that relationship with a hard money lender locally in your area, not a national one. So whatever state you're in, feel free to just select the state that you're in, and then you have the ability to chat with multiple different lenders. And trust me, they're happy to talk with you. And they're not going to sell you anything. They can just give you their terms, and then allow you to see what you can afford, how you can get into your first flip. That is the most important relationship on planet Earth, if you really wanted to get into flipping. So make sure you guys check it out at gethardmoney.com. Use all those calculators, sign up, and on the next video we'll be going down to Pasadena, checking in on it, seeing where we're at, and lots more updates. And hopefully by then we're getting some action when we list the lots. So I'll see you on the next ones. Hit that like button for me if you're still here.